Hey G.I. Joe fans, Joe Motion Videos 82 here. It's time for a G.I. Joe discussion. Um, I'm pretty bushed. It's just been a long week, a lot of changes at work. Um, so taking on all that added stress, I honestly didn't feel like setting up a review. So I thought I'd do something different. I talk about, coming into my house and feeling welcome. That's why I do my videos the way I do. I want you guys to feel like you're here in a toy dungeon with me and enjoying my collection with me. And the same way I'd treat you if you came to my house and visited. We would come back here and look at the toys and talk and just enjoy them. So this is my way of sharing the collection with the world. So I just wanted to really discuss the evolution of toy collecting in my life. As you guys know, I started off with only G.I. Joe. That's what I wanted this channel to be. I started off doing stop motion, and my software wasn't all that great, and the videos were so I enjoy doing stop motion, but when I eventually get a new computer and stop having to shoot off my phone and start using my high definition camera again, I could put new software into the computer and do some stop motion once in a while. But as you guys know, and you can see, my toy collection has actually branched out, and that's because of you guys. People on Twitter, on HCC's live stream, and other toy collectors that I talk to on a personal level, that I have phone numbers and emails, that we'll talk about different toys. Let's just go back to 1977. I was born in 74. So I was born at the prime time for the toy boom. Of course, we know Star Wars Episode 4 came out in 77. It was a cultural phenomenon, and it still is today. There are people that eat, drink, sleep, and breathe Star Wars, and they know it chapter and verse. And I love Star Wars. I was very, very much into it. And I wasn't a chapter and verse person. And I didn't engage in conversation much with Star Wars, because if I misquoted something or got something wrong, some people would just nail me to the wall. It's like, come on, guys, it's just a hobby. And that's them, and that's fine. That they're that passionate, and I love it that people are that passionate about something. But I noticed a different groping for the phrase, a different pathology that is with G.I. Joe collectors. We're more laid back, and if we do get something wrong, nobody gets upset about it. If you go like me, you cosplay, people don't pick apart your costume. This isn't correct, this isn't correct. They look at it, hey, great job, wow, where did you get this, how did you do this, blah blah blah. People enjoy it. And that part, that is really cool about the G.I. Joe community. So Star Wars is, I had action figures prior to Star Wars. I had the Fisher Price action people. I even had the Fisher Price little people, you know, the ones with the little wood bodies and just the head. And you know, you had the barn, you opened the door and you'd hear a cow moo. We had all that stuff. I remember the Ferris wheel, we had that. I had little cars, you know. So Fisher Price has been a part of my life and still is a part of my life. I bought a few pieces just out of nostalgia, as I, you know, simply as that, as nostalgia. So action figures have been a part of my entire life. So when Star Wars came out, that changed my world as far as toy collecting. My third birthday, all of, you know, this was back in Ohio. All of my family was there. Every summer we had a family reunion, and each year we picked a different family to spend the reunion with. And on this particular year, it was at our house. So it was my third birthday. My whole family was there, my cousins, aunts, uncles. It was a fantastic birthday. I had an R2-D2 cake. I got pretty much all of the action figures that were, all the Star Wars action figures that were available, save for Luke, Leia, and Han Solo. Everybody wanted the heroes, so my parents said we couldn't find those. So I had all the rest of them, and I was more than happy to have those. My cousins were wanting to play with them, and I was like, you know, kind of a stingy kid. I was at that point the baby of the family, and I was like, no, they're new, I don't want you to touch them and break them, because I did have some cousins that were real rough on toys, and you know, we would put our good stuff away when they would come over because they would end up breaking something. But yeah, so I was real, and still am very protective of my collection. That's partly why I have a lot of my toys from my childhood. So Star Wars was a major part of my life, and a new change came in the 80s. The toy boom, as I call it, the golden age of toys. And what a time it was to be a kid in the 80s and 90s. Those of you who are in my age or in your mid to late 30s know this. It was a fantastic time. I remember going to Children's Palace in Columbus, Ohio. It was a treat to go out there, and we would, my parents would take us all Christmas shopping, and we would throw our coats in the cart so my parents could hide all the toys that they were buying, and we would look around. And we saw our parents somewhere, we would, you know, take off so we didn't spoil their fun. But Children's Palace, to me, it was a palace. Here I was, this little 2.5 foot tall 3-year-old, so everything was just gigantic to me. And I remember the toy aisles stacked floor to ceiling, and one aisle completely dedicated to Star Wars. And recently I came across an old news footage on YouTube about the Star Wars, what they're calling the Star Wars phenomenon. And there was a news channel that went into a toy store, and they were in the toy section talking to kids about Star Wars, and did you see the movie? What are you buying? What do you want for Christmas? Because this was done in December. And they had all the ships hanging from the ceiling, the Millennium Falcon, and you know, the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing. And somebody had the remote control R2-D2 that they were running up and down the aisle to demonstrate. And that brought back so many fun and fond memories. And I think that's why all of us are into this, into toy collecting, is for the nostalgia. Nostalgia psychologically is a very, very powerful emotion. It's equivalent to love. in a lot of ways. Love is the most powerful emotion that we have. And nostalgia is right there because it affects the pleasure center, which is right here above our left ear. And ironically, our sex drive is right below the pleasure center. Go figure, right? So this is not about biology. This is about toys. So I just wanted to throw that little factoid out there. So nostalgia is a very powerful thing, and obviously it doesn't have a price. It's priceless because the toy prices keep on going up because we are buying these toys, and we'll pay anything to get that toy back that we had as a child, or the things that we didn't have that we wanted. And that was me. So 1982 came. We, in the Reagan era, the economy was turning around because we were in a pretty bad recession in the 70s. I remember the gas shortages, and you were only rationed so many gallons of gas. And if your car license plate started with these digits, that was your day to go and get gas, and there were long lines and blah, blah, blah. But the toy boom hit in the 80s. And I remember sitting on my couch watching television, and the G.I. Joe ad hit. And it was on a Saturday. I was watching Saturday morning cartoons. I was like, oh my gosh, look at that. I mean, they had the green 13, you know, Snake Eyes and Scarlet were the only two, and that were different from the others. The rest were green, of course. We know this, right? And there were only two bad guys. There was the Cobra Trooper and the Cobra Officer. And to me, those were individual figures. I didn't know they were meant to be troop built. And so I thought, this is kind of unfair. There are more good guys than there are bad guys, and the good guys have vehicles, the bad guys don't, So they were really, focusing on the Joes. And we moved out here to Ohio that year, from Ohio out here to Arizona that year. And it was, my parents spent every bit of money that we had to move out here. My dad already had a job lined up, and when we got out here, the house that they had lined up fell through, and we ended up living with his boss for a few weeks until they could find another house. So money was really, really tight that Christmas, but a Christmas miracle did happen. People that we barely knew out here gave us money. Some of our relatives sent us money, and my parents were able to afford to get us Christmas presents. So that year, I remember I got a big Playmobil playset. It was a wagon train. I got a little mechanized wind-up tank, which I thought was really cool. And I got the Cobra Trooper and the G.I. Joe transistor radio. So those were my first experiences with G.I. Joe, and I still have the Cobra Trooper. So I was just thrilled to have something from G.I. Joe, and I tried to incorporate him with Star Wars, and it just didn't work for me. It was the articulation, and everything about him did not fit in with Star Wars. So I just wasn't that kid that just blended everything together into a multiverse, as we call it these days. So I did take him over to my friends' houses that did have G.I. Joe, and I would trade. Somehow I ended up getting almost all of the Green 13 just through trading, I think. I don't quite remember how, or some kids would just give me stuff. And I remember being confused about Snake Eyes. He was black, all black. And we were, all the bad guys were black. Darth Vader was all black. Black is the bad guy color. The cowboy in the black hat was the bad guy. So I was confused, and especially his name, Snake Eyes. The Cobra is a snake. Is he Cobra? But no, he's a good guy. You know, what's going on with this? You know, so he confused me for a while. So when I played with my Joes, my Cobra Trooper was pretty much immortal. He got shot, another one came in. And that was how I played with it. And then 83 rolled around, and Cobra Commander, yeah, he came out. I love version 1 of Cobra Commander. That helmet is just so amazing. Oh man, it fills my mind with so many cool ideas. As a kid, I incorporated that helmet into my artwork. All the bad guys had the Cobra Commander helmet, and I put the little pickle spike on top, like the German army helmets. And I never got him, but I did get more Joes, you know, here and there as time went on. But Star Wars was still what my parents said, you know, just collect one toy line, because there were so many of them that were just pouring out. Masters of the Universe hit in 83, and automatically it resonated with me. Like, dang, man, I freaking want B-Man and Battle Cat. Those are cool. Skeletor, look at that. You know, I had a friend that had all the Masters of the Universe figures. He had Castle Grayskull, and so we spent our time between Star Wars and Masters of the Universe. So, 1983 came around, Return of the Jedi came out, and the Star Wars line just kind of faded off into existence. We thought it was over. So we started collecting Masters of the Universe. And occasionally I would get some G.I. Joe stuff. In 85, I got the flight pod for Christmas. So I had bought Blowtorch by then. So Blowtorch was flying in the flight pod, and the Cobra Trooper was flying in it. I had Wetsuit at one time. Not Wetsuit. Sorry, my stroke kind of thing. Torpedo. I had Torpedo at one time. His O-ring was really loose. He would fly in it. And you know, it was fun. I remember holding it and just running down the hallway. Woo, you know, this flight pod. Just had a heck of a good time with it. So, this was also a time for great cartoons. If anything was popular, they made a breakfast cereal out of it. They, you know, clothing line, toothpaste, toothbrushes, bed sheets, curtains, you name it. If they could slap a brand on it, they did. You guys remember that? You know, Pac-Man cereal, Donkey Kong cereal, G.I. Joe cereal, C-3POs. Just all these sugary, yeah, gotta love it cereal, where all that stuff was out on the market. And as we all know now, that, you know, the cartoons were just a 20-minute toy ad. Because all of a sudden they would introduce a new action figure, and it was like, or a new character, and it was an action figure. Wow, man, we got to get Flint, we got to get Lady J, we got to get Barbecue. And so that created an outlash. And, you know, this is something that, you know, I've picked up from other collectors, and, you know, the FCC had to step in and say, that's it, man. Can't be exposing kids to all of these toy ads and all these cartoons promoting toys, because, you know, parents are complaining because their kids had to have it. So that really ruined Saturday morning cartoons, because I remember in between the cartoons they had toy ads. So now if you want to see a toy commercial, you have to go to a child-specific channel. Uh, Disney Junior, Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, Nick Jr., that's where you'll see the toy ads. You just don't see them anymore on primetime TV. All the 100 and some million channels that we have anymore, thanks to broadband and all that, satellite. So the commercials these days just suck. It's a drug commercial. It's some type of auto insurance, life insurance, or a cell phone. You don't see the cool pop ads. You don't see the cool bubble gum ads anymore. The cool candy bar ads. You don't see that stuff. Commercials are not fun anymore. So anybody listening that's in advertisement, come on. Look back at the old stuff and let's bring it back. Please. So I watch the old commercials on YouTube just for the nostalgia of it. And boy, does it bring back some very, very pleasant and wonderful feelings. And there are some of them that are so powerful that I actually remember where I was and what I was doing at the time when I first saw that ad. Believe it or not. I mean, the psychology behind it is spot on. They know what they're doing. So yeah, it's inspired all my toy collecting. So I got into Masters of the Universe, and then as I got older, I've mentioned this before. I Masters of the Universe ended, so I went back full time with GI Joe, and I would buy stuff occasionally, and I was actually ashamed. I really was. I was ashamed to be buying toys. Here I am, a young adult, and I'm buying toys, and I'm supposed to be growing up and putting aside your toys and learning how to be a man. But I didn't. And I remember my senior year of high school, I bought a Snake Eyes, and I was the Ninja Force Snake Eyes, and I was sitting outside the mall waiting for my parents, and a classmate of mine comes up, and I'm like, oh jeez, here we go. Jeremy saw me, and he said, what do you have there? I said, nothing. And he's, oh, that's Snake Eyes. Oh, that is so cool. And found out he loved G.I. Joe. He was still reading the comics, and the next day at school, he said, hey, how's your Snake Eyes? What does it do? And I told him he squeezes legs, and he has this, little ninja action, slice chop action. And that was, it was, I found out, okay, some people are still doing this. But when I became an adult, in my 20s, I was still buying toys, and I was kind of ashamed. It's like, this is kind of a dirty little secret. I'm going in, and I'm seeing grown-ups buy toys, but they have kids with them, and sometimes there's other adults there by themselves, and they're buying toys and thinking, they're getting them for their kids, and here I am buying this for myself. And so for a long time, I was a closet toy collector. I occasionally talk about it, and I remember a nurse laughing at me, oh, you have toys. And I didn't think of them as toys anymore. I thought of them as collectible pieces. But I did share my collection with some friends. I had, when I was married, we had just our daughter, so we had a spare bedroom, and I converted that. It was an office / toy room, and that's where I had all my Star Wars stuff in that room. And our neighbors would come by, and they'd just sit down in the room and look around, and their kids would come by and look at our collection, and we would talk about it, and I would explain each character, and we just had a great time. And that's when I started realizing, you know what, it's okay to collect toys. And then they would have Midnight Madness sales on new releases of Star Wars, and that's when I really found out that adults are buying it by themselves. So I started getting a little more comfortable talking about toy collecting. And it it took off from really took off from there, and I was specifically just GI Joe. Just GI Joe. I wanted still in that mindset you can only collect one toy line, but thanks to you guys and people on Twitter and um, other collectors that I've talked to, that they collect all these other really cool toy lines, and I like the old horror films, so that's why I started doing horror action figures. And I was thinking, well, I'm gonna just review these during Halloween for Friday Night Frights, and then I came up with the idea, well, let's do Vampire and have his own channel. And I thought, well, that's going to be a lot of work. And I think it was Gazz. Yes, thank you, Gazz. Just keep it on your channel. So Vampire, he has his thing going on, and I have my thing going on this channel. And so G.I. Joe expanded to horror, and it is expanded to Aliens versus Predator. So I'm getting all these other really cool toy lines, and they are marketed towards adults now. Is these some of these toys are just, they're pieces of art, honestly. And I keep them in the boxes because I really don't have room to display everything properly. I do have some things out on display, and I'll put those away and bring other stuff out to refresh the collection. And I'm fully immersed into it. It's a very good hobby. I've found it actually therapeutic. To to do this, you have to have a hobby, and this is my way of decompressing. As you guys, if you're watching my channel for a long time, I'm in the medical profession. So I see a lot of very good things, and I also have to deal with the dark side of the job, and that's people passing away and watching people suffer from very terrible and debilitating illnesses, anywhere from like anoxic brain injury, which people, their brains are starved of oxygen either from an overdose or an attempted suicide, by hanging, and they're pretty much in a vegetative state. There's some functions restore over time, but after 4 minutes of your brain being starved of oxygen, it starts to die. So I work with people like that, and there are some days where it's just depressing. About 2 weeks ago, I had 2 patients in one night that we had to do CPR on. One we saved, and the other one was gone. Right when I walked in the room, I knew she was gone. You just could tell, but you still have to do CPR if they don't have a do not resuscitate order or a living will in place. So you still have to attempt, at least, because you just never know. But she was dead, not cold dead, but you just knew that there was no coming back from this. So that was a really rough night. So I had to come back here into the dungeon and sit here. Cried a little bit. I'm not ashamed to admit that. That it's sad. I've been doing this for most of my adult life, and it's sad. When people pass away. So my toys brought me back, and brought me cheer, brought me joy. And a part of my whole shtick, as Rob calls it, from my side of the laundry room. Hi, Rob. He uses that word quite a bit, shtick. Part of the shtick, or the appeal of my channel, I want you to feel like you are in my home. as if you come and knock on my front door and say, Byron, hey, can I see your toys? So we come back here, sit down, talk, play with the toys and just reminisce. So that's what I want this channel to feel like. I want you guys to feel invited. I don't want it to be really mechanical and sterile, as some channels are, and there are others, that is fantastic. There's too many to mention. I'm afraid I'd leave somebody out. Everybody has their own way of doing it and keeping it entertaining and educational. So I've learned a lot from other collectors about other toy lines, and I just love it. I really do. I remember we had was it an exterminator come by for our annual termite inspection and spray. And so he came back into my room because last year I had termite tubes coming down out of the ceiling that got up into my attic. So he wanted to check that area again. And he walked into my room and his eyes lit up. He said, I remember this house. I said, yes. I remember you too. I said, your favorite character is Taurus because you are a Taurus. He said, wow, that's a good memory. So what was supposed to be a 15 or 20-minute visit turned into an hour and a half because we were just talking about his collection, my collection. So this brings joy to a lot of people. And my mom even likes coming back here and looking at this stuff. And she loves the monsters. G.I. Joe, yeah. But monsters she really does love, and that's something that we share together and we could connect over. And so yeah, that's my little bit on collecting. People are customizing too. Of course, there's toy molding, plastic molding kits that you could buy at hobby shops, and of course, there's Black Major and the Red Laser Army and blah blah blah. People that are customizing their own Joes, and I used to really despise that when kids would get a toy and they would paint it the way they wanted it. It's like, you just ruined a toy that your parents bought you. Now I see the beauty of it, because you could take an action figure, slap a new coat of paint on it like they did in the 90s, and make it somewhat of a different action figure. So all that being said, I took a bat and I mixed my own blend of paint to blood red, and this is the vampire bat, like the custom bats that I bought from a gentleman a while back, the Halloween bat and the vampire bat. So that's the idea I got from it. So I got a hold of him, and he's making me some decals, and I showed him a picture. I said, you inspired me. I said, I'm not taking this whole credit. So this is you as the Tucson toy hunter. I said, so you inspired this? And he said, wow. He said, yeah. He said, I'll make that to scale for you. And I said, you're free to use this idea. I said, because it's yours. And I just incorporated it with the bat. I didn't paint his accessories though. On the 3 3/4 inch vampire bat, these are painted with a clear red metallic. I wanted to leave his accessories the same. But yeah, I really enjoy customizing now. I shared some of my custom work with you guys where I made the cat tank, because I just thought I wouldn't be able to buy one because of the expense of them, and found one cheap enough and got a great deal on it. It's missing the battery cover and the axles were broken off, but I found those parts pretty cheap, so I rebuilt it. The motor doesn't work, but that's fine. I have a functioning cat tank. So yeah, I have fun customizing because of you guys. I have to give a huge shout out and thanks to Painted Plastic, because he was the one that actually taught me how to mix paint and how to apply it so it's not sticky, and you have to make it thin. You use alcohol to thin it out, because he airbrushes, but I still like to use the paintbrush because I could get focus, called mindfulness, where I just focus only on the toy and I lose myself into my project, and I find that to be very relaxing too. So it took several coats of paint for this, because it was made with that clear metallic red, and I added a few drops of dark red and mixed it together to get that blood red look. And I had to put like 4 or 5 coats of paint on him, so I let it dry for 24 hours, slap another coat on, and let that dry. And it was just a great time doing that. So I want to thank you guys for inspiring me in a lot of ways, and to just thank you for participating in my channel. I look at my algorithm, and there are a lot of folks that watch it that don't subscribe. So please subscribe, and hit that notification, because when I put up a video, I want you guys to be the first to get it. I'm not doing it to boost my ego. Hey, look at this, I have all these subscribers. I'm not doing it to get ad revenue. I just want it makes me feel good to see my numbers go up. That it's validating that you guys appreciate my work that much, where you feel like I'm worthy enough for your subscription. And that, honestly, this is coming from the bottom of my heart, that honestly does make me feel really good. Sorry, stroke keep kicking in today. I'm tired. Hold on. I do really appreciate that when I get a new subscriber, and if your channel is made public, your ID comes up, your channel name, and I subscribe back to you. And I do hold giveaways for my subscribers. Channel supporters, they have their own giveaway. Then I hold a separate giveaway for subscribers, and then what I call grand giveaway, where it's just for one prize for everybody, kind of a lottery type thing. So that being said, I have a goal of 600. Sorry, I got bit in the hand by a mosquito last night. When I reach 600, I'll be giving away a breaker and ram cycle. Just a way to thank you guys for being so awesome. So anyway, I hope I didn't bore you with this. It's just something I've been wanting to do for a while, and thought maybe they don't want to just hear me talk. They want to see a toy. So today, it's just toy talk, and sharing a customized, classified vampire bat. And you're free to do that too if you want. I don't care. I'm not taking ownership of that because it was not my idea. So you guys take care. Be kind to everybody. You never know what kind of day people are having. So a little kindness does go a long way. And please be kind to animals. They know nothing but unconditional love. I love animals in nature. I love my own pets. They are, and they're proving to be therapeutic for people. It is proven that your heart rate does slow down and your blood pressure drops when you pet your animals. So they are man's best friend. It's plain and simple. a cat, dog, parrot, whatever pet you have, and just spend time with it. So anyway, you guys take care. Stay safe out there. Thank you guys very much. Love you guys. You are fantastic people. Please leave me a comment. That's the best part of my show, is getting to read your comments and answering back. Sometimes I can't get to them right away, but I do when I see them pop up. I do answer back, so please leave me a comment. I love talking to you guys. Build a lot of really good friendships from this channel. People probably never see, and I hope one day that we can meet somewhere and just have dinner together and sit down and just talk and get to see who you are. You know what I look like. I don't know what you guys look like, most of you. Brandon, I'm kind of like, oh, no, just kidding, Brandon. Yeah, so it's my goal to meet you guys. So hopefully one day it could happen. So anyway, you guys take care, stay safe. We'll see you next week for another G.I. Joe toy review. Till then, bye-bye.